let's talk about digital hygiene as an author, because as an author, you have a ton of files and images and PDFs and ebooks and all of these things that you're going to need to keep track of as an author. And if you are messy in your digital space, it's going to come back to bite you. You are going to suffer so much if you do not have good digital hygiene. So I want to focus on a system of nesting folders to make sure you can find things when you need them and you have the ability to back things up very easily. So when it comes to writing your novel, and this counts for all areas of author life, from the content that you're creating and using to the files that you're going to be sending out to the book distributors, but for this conversation, I'm just going to refer to it as writing your manuscript, but it applies to everything. So at that point, when you're creating content or storing content in any way, shape, or form, you need to make sure it's in an organized fashion. So for me, what I do is a nesting system of folders. I have a specific spot where I keep all of my manuscripts. Now, this is housed in a larger hard drive, so I can go very easily and find it. No, these are my manuscripts. This is what I'm working on. Inside of that manuscripts folder, I have folders for each individual book. Now, inside of each of those folders, I then have nested different versions or tweaks on things so that I know what I'm doing when I'm doing it. I know what's the most recent version of it. Now, I don't write multiple drafts of my novel, but I do save each individual file every time I write, because at any given point, your file could glitch. And if it does glitch, you want to lose a chapter or two, not the entire book or half the book or whatever horrible thing could potentially befall you. So I save it every single day, a brand new version. So even if the worst happens, I have the older versions to fall back on. So I have the book, and then I have the different versions of it. So I'll have like the in progress version, and I'll have the edited version, and then I'll have like the final draft version after all my editors and proofreaders and things have gone through it. That's going to go over to my, depending on where I'm working. If it's a traditional, I send it over and officially turn that manuscript in, or I am sending it to Vellum so that I can publish that on my own. So I have folders within folders so that I know each individual manuscript. Now this is helpful because when I'm backing this up, and again, I do this every single day because we do not want our files on one drive, because anything could happen. Even if you're storing it on the cloud can eat your work. Please, please, please do not just keep one version of your novel. We talked about this many times before. You got to make sure that you have multiple versions of your novel so that you are ready to go in case something happens. And stemming back to my photographer days, we even keep things on hard drives that we don't keep in the house in case there's like a fire and your computer burns. You got to make sure you have extra backups, which is why you can keep them on in a hard drive like at your parents' house or something, or you can put things in the cloud. You can email them to yourself, which is incredibly helpful if you just take your file and email it to yourself so you can go back and find those things. Have multiple versions so you don't have the corrupted versions wreck everything. And then organize as best as possible. So nesting folders is really good. When you get too deep into the nesting, it can cause some problems depending on what you're doing, but not too much for saving things. So make sure you have folders, and then you keep them in an organized space on your computer, on an extra hard drive, in your email, in your cloud storage, wherever you're going to do it. I recommend at least 3 different places in case of glitches every single time. I know that takes up a lot of space, but it is Word documents for the most part that we're talking about here, unless we're talking about like your video content that you're using to market. Then you might want to, invest in some terabytes of hard drive there, but Word docs don't take up too terribly much space. You just have a lot of copies of them, and that really can make or break your success. So having a nesting functionality when it comes to creating your folders and subfolders with all of your books and all of the things that you're doing is just so much easier for you to function and to find things and to get what you need and how you need to do them. I cannot recommend it enough. Having good digital hygiene is really helpful. Now, it doesn't just apply to folders and your manuscripts and things like that. This could be your note-taking process. I have notes within my phone where if I have a cool character name, I have one titled Book Character Name Ideas so that I can just easily search it. I know what it is. If I have lines I want to write into a book, I'll put that in a note that has a title that's very clearly denoted so I can easily find it. If I'm working on a specific book, it'll be titled with that book's name. If I have all of my notes organized on my phone, I can easily type up a couple of keywords and then find that note, even if I haven't touched that document in 2 years. So you want to make sure that you are labeling everything, you have everything in subfolders, and you're very clearly organized with this, because otherwise you're going to be searching your desktop and your browsers and all of the other folders and the old hard drives, and if you can just label everything so you can easily find it, and that includes like digital labeling, but also if you are using hard drives and jump drives and all those things, like take a piece of tape, baby, write a name on it and slap it on it so you can easily find it. I have so many hard drives from when I was younger and I wasn't labeling things that now I just have to like search my way through trying to remember what year did I do that thing that I needed to find that picture for, that video for. So the more you can label, the more you can subfolder, the more you can categorize, the easier it's going to be for you. And it really has saved me a ton of time and effort inside of my author life. And that even applies to things like when you have graphics, title it with something you can search. When you title things with things that you can search easily, you're gonna be able to find it. So my ebook covers are not like 135B 76212 whatever. It's not a string of numbers and letters. Jaded cover ebook, jaded cover 3D. It's easy for me to find. It's easy for me to search on my phone, on my computer, in my hard drives. It makes it a lot easier. So the more you can be well thought out with your labeling of things and your nesting of things within your drives, the easier it is going to be. And your labeling doesn't have to be the same as my labeling. How your brain works is how you need to be doing this. So just because I do it in a certain way where I have things labeled with my books and different subheadings and things like that, you don't have to do that if that's not how your brain works. How does your mind do it? Create that program and process for you inside of how you are creating your author content. Now, I know I've been promising that I was releasing something really cool here on the channel. I had a hiccup when I tried to film it, so I'm actually trying to do it in a different way now to make it easier, because it would have just taken forever for me to get that done the way that I had planned. So I'm working on it. I'm changing it up. It's going to be really cool. I'm actually off to a meeting with YouTube right now, and so I will see you in the upcoming episodes. Drop your questions on author life, and we'll see you then.